where Yolanda Saldivar is serving a life sentence for the murder of Selena Quintanilla Perez.
You understand the loss of her to her fans?
It's tremendous. And not only to them, but to me.
But they want to know why you killed her.
I won't discuss that.
Why not?
Because the truth is not out.
So tell it.
Not in a court of law.
You've had your day in court. Why didn't you tell it then?
I was not given an opportunity to defend myself. I was represented, which is different.
Yolanda, at that time, your life depended on it. If there is this information that if it doesn't exonerate you, at least gives context as to why Selena Quintanilla is dead, why would you not have demanded that that be presented in court to spare your life?
If I knew then what I know now, you can rest assured that my trial wouldn't have gone the way it is, or that it was. I can assure you that.
During the course of a 2-hour interview, Yolanda was continually evasive, bolstering the public image that she's clever, cunning, and manipulative. While her conviction is on appeal, Yolanda's reluctance to answer certain questions is understandable. But then, as the interview continues, she jumps at an opportunity to supposedly tell all.
This is a letter that your family has said you received here in prison. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Behind the Music was given 2 letters by the Saldivar family prior to this interview. They are allegedly from a man named Lorenzo Salinas, who Yolanda says she and Selena met while doing business in Mexico in early '95. The Texas Department of Corrections confirms the letters were mailed from outside the prison. But during an exhaustive 7-month investigation, Behind the Music was unable to find Lorenzo Salinas or confirm his existence.
He tells me exactly what I've been saying all along.
Which is what?
That he feels his conscience is killing him because he knows the truth, and he knows that he feels that, or he thinks that I have things that will eventually say it all. And
do you?
Yes.
Yolanda claims that 2 weeks prior to the murder, she discovered videotapes damaging to Selena's career, and that she had a diary of Selena's that corroborated information on the tapes. In his purported letter, Lorenzo Salinas claims he was hired to beat up Yolanda, to retrieve the tapes and diary as part of a plot to extort Selena. Yolanda claims she was attacked, but managed to get away.
You know where those tapes are now?
Exactly.
You know where that diary is now?
I know where they're at.
Yolanda contends they remain where she stashed them, in a safe deposit box in Monterrey, Mexico.
Why is that information significant to the death of Selena Quintanilla?
Because that is many of the things that were discussed that day. It was not about the embezzlement. It was not about no obsessed fan or being fired. It had nothing to do with that.
What Yolanda won't explain is why, if she was protecting Selena, she instead killed her.
Yolanda's state of mind is an issue in this case.
San Antonio attorney Ramiro Estrada has been retained by the Saldivar family. He says while the information in Mexico may not exonerate Yolanda, it will somehow shed light on her state of mind in the days leading up to the murder. Estrada hopes the alleged evidence will open the door for a second trial and a reduced sentence.
I think Yolanda knows that she needs this information to be found.
Yolanda empowered Estrada to retrieve the supposed evidence, and Behind the Music accompanied him to Monterrey, Mexico.
Isn't there a chance, maybe even a pretty good chance, that Yolanda's lying to us about this evidence?
Well, I think anything's possible, but it would serve no purpose. It would not help her to be perpetrating a lie.
Yolanda and the Saldivar family directed Estrada to more than a half-dozen different bank locations.
I don't see what good it would do for her to be sending us on a wild goose chase. I mean, it's certainly not going to help her in a trial.
But a wild goose chase it proved to be. There was no safe deposit box, no tape, no diary, no evidence.
You're disappointed that this evidence hasn't been found.
Sure. Sure I am.
Following the trip, Estrada revealed he intends to remove himself from Yolanda's case. Whether the extortion plot, videotapes, and diary are fact or Yolanda's fiction remains unknown, and may never be known, as Yolanda reveals in one smug answer.
I guess I'll take it to my grave.
In San Antonio, Yolanda Saldivar, a 31-year-old nurse who frankly didn't like Tejano music until she saw Selena perform, started a fan club.
You're in your early 30s, you have a career as a nurse. Fan clubs are usually for people who are a lot younger. What was compelling you to do it?
Going through my college years, I had no social life. I had none, because I devoted myself through my university, my career, my license. Now it was time for me to have fun.
So tell me about your first meeting.
I was like meeting Whitney Houston.
At first, they don't see each other often, essentially only when Selena plays San Antonio.
I was their gopher, so to speak, in San Antonio.
But you loved it.
Yes.
It was a touch of celebrity.
Well, actually,
in San Antonio, Texas.
Well, not only that, but it was because my friends. It was Suzette and it was Selena. I did it for them.
But you had to have enjoyed the fact that your friends were becoming such celebrities.
Well, that too.
At one time, my whole family liked Yolanda. You know, we would invite her to come eat at our house. You know, we'd have a get-togethers and we'd invite her.
It was that our friendship had grown from being just a fan, celebrity type, to this personal type of relationship.
When Selena made the decision to open up the boutiques, she needed someone to run them. And there was Yolanda, her trusted friend who would never let her down, who was always there for her.
And I'm the one that suggested, well, what about that girl that runs a fan club in San Antonio? She looks pretty, you know, like a nice person. And that's how Yolanda came into the picture.
It was then that she hired me in '94.
Even though you had no business experience?
Even though I had no business experience, no.
She didn't know anything about retail, and that's basically, come on, you need Retail 101 to manage a retail space.
And I think that that's where things started unraveling.
Both Martin Gomez and Yolanda agree that from the very beginning they are at each other's throat, not just about business, but over access to Selena. Gomez contends the stage was being set for Selena to be deceived and controlled by an obsessive Yolanda.
She's made it very clear to me that in order for me to speak to her, to speak to Selena, I have to go by her.
He started seeing that his contact with Selena was becoming less and less.
Martin says that the reason his time was less and less is because you were becoming obsessed with Selena.
That's not true.
Yolanda derived her popularity with people because of her association with Selena. And if anyone else was going to get closer to her to Selena, or get her ear, that was a threat to Yolanda. And by virtue of being the creator of these designs, Martin Gomez was a threat.
By now, Gomez says Yolanda was trying to wrest control of Selena's life.
It was neurotic. It was neurotic and it was strange. Fanatical. Selena would come to visit, and then she'd leave and she goes, oh, I miss her. I go, she just left.
She didn't want to be bothered. Martin can understand that.
So you're assuming a bigger role.
Definitely.
Could that role be construed as becoming obsessed?
I don't know where people are getting this, that I'm obsessed with Selena. It was a duty that she expected me to do. And I had to do it.
I was starting to recognize her just basically being controlling and trying to manipulate Selena. I was starting to, I was trying to identify that, and more than anything, I was going to Abraham with the information.
See, you got to understand that Martin and Yolanda are like two old women bickering at each other.
While that bickering must certainly be wearing on Selena, Abraham stays clear of it and had no problem with Yolanda until the beginning of 1995.
Is that the beginning of the end of your relationship with Abraham?
That becomes the fury of it all.
That fury is about to spill over.
You have vilified Dr. Martinez, Abraham Quintanilla. Why weren't those the people that were attacked? Why your best friend?
There was never an intentional to kill Selena. Never. There was never an intentional to do anything wrong to Abraham either, or Dr. Martinez. My intention was to relieve myself from all of that.
You were going to kill yourself.
Yes.
But why did you end up killing your best friend?
I didn't kill her.